Okay, now this review is really late, but here is my review of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I'm Ed Bo. Welcome to Ed Reviews. As I said, we are reviewing finally Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, directed by James Gunn. It is a Disney Marvel film, and it is a sci-fi action comedy set in the space side of the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Uh, the characters, the principal characters of the film are Star-Lord, as played by Chris Pratt, who is fairly well. I can review all the acting in one shot. We'll do that later. We have Gamora, which is Zoe Saldana. We have Dave Bautista as Drax. We have Bradley Cooper returning as Rocket Raccoon. Michael Rooker as Yondu. Vin Diesel as Baby Groot. What is her name? Karen Gillan as Nebula. And the immortal Kurt Russell as is it that Kurt? Yeah, it's Kurt Russell as Ego, the living planet. So the acting, the acting in the film is in general really good, really good. Um, some of the character development is excellent. Every character has some deep character development going on in the film. Um, there's one point of character development that's going to be in the negative side for me. We'll get to that later. So, the beginning of the film. The film begins with what feels like a subplot, sort of. It's not. The film has two completely different main plots that aren't really related. One involves this race of golden skinned aliens led by a woman named Aisha, and it involves a theft and a lot of action sequences. And that is about half the movie, and that plot isn't really well plotted at all. It's just there for laughs and action. Um, and incidentally, that movie stars Rocket Raccoon and sorry, my computer's trying to talk to me. That movie stars Rocket Raccoon and Yandu. Um, the subplot, which is really not, is given as much weight as the main plot, which doesn't begin in Act 1. The main plot, the plot involving Eagle, the living planet. Sorry, I'm gonna have to unplug my iPad. The main plot, which involves Eagle, the living planet, doesn't begin until the beginning of Act 2. Um, Whereas most of the action sequences still revolve around um, the the Golden People and Aisha. You have a very slow moving main plot that involves uh, Ego and Star Lord meeting and having a lot of conversations, the gist of which are essentially spoilers for the film. Although, if you've read anything about the film, you kind of know where it's going. The movie does use them in film, in theater as surprises, so I won't give them away for you in case you're the sort of person who doesn't watch trailers. But suffice to say, Act 2 is slow moving if you're following the story of Ego and Star Lord, fast moving if you're following the story of the Golden Skin People and Rocket Raccoon and Yondu. Um, which is the reason why that other plot is there, because that's where all the action is at that point. There's also a third plot that involves Gamora and her sister Nebula. That's also fairly fast moving, and most of that is the second act as well. Then the third act, the two plots finally sort of meet in the middle and sort of mix it up in one gigantic extended action sequence that kind of battles for the soul of the movie. Um, the way they meet in the end doesn't feel disjointed. It's fairly well done. It doesn't really stand up to too much scrutiny, because it 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 works, but it doesn't make sense. I can't really go into it any more than that without spoilers. The upside of the film. Most of the film is fast paced and funny, and the parts that aren't fast paced and funny are slow paced and funny. The film is never boring. I was never bored sitting in my seat. I will say this about the film. I personally didn't find it as funny as most of the other people in the audience apparently did. There were a lot of jokes in the film that got huge laughs from the audience where I merely chuckled. That happened quite a bit in the film. As I said, I was never bored, but I was not holding my sides laughing like I was in the first film. Um, and the downside, as I said, not as funny as the first film. The two plot gimmick doesn't work well until the third act, and then it only works well if you don't think about it too much. And the other downside is the ego story is a very, very slow starter. As I said, it's not boring. It works as a drama. It works as comedy, but it doesn't work as an action film. My score, right after the film, walking out of the film, I thought it was a solid 4-star film. But after thinking this over, I'm going with 3.5. It's entertaining, but suffers from multiple plotline disorder. So that's my review. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, 3.5 stars. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you really like this video, hit the subscribe button. And if you really, really like this video, share it with your friends. I'm Ed Bo. Thanks for watching.